Okay everyone, these are the notes for the principles of art and design. So we have balance. It is a distribution of visual weight, distributing the elements of art, line, shape, space, color, and value. I drew these little examples. So the square and the circle. I know we know symmetrical as being like equal or matching, but I don't want you to really think of in art as matching as so much as equal. So this square and this circle are pretty much the same size, so they both take up the same amount of space on the paper, so that means it is symmetrical. It doesn't have to be matching, the elements just have to take up the same amount of size, area, or space. For asymmetrical, we can make the square big and the circle small, or vice versa. And that would count as being asymmetrical, playing with different sized elements. And then we have radial balance, which means it's round and circular. So even if it's on a rectangular like ground, it still has this feeling of round, cycling, going, flipping our eyes kind of around and around and around and around and around. Emphasis is focal area or focal point. It is the space of an artwork that the artist wants the viewer to look at most. So for instance, like these little triangles repeat, 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 and they bring us up to this area. So maybe this is like a landscape, and that's the big, big, big golden moon in the sky. So maybe we look at the landscape, but we constantly come back to that big bright moon. What do we look at the most? Emphasis. Movement. How the viewer reads the elements in an artwork. The artist will decide how active or stable an artwork will be. So for instance, this little design is very wavy, lots of curvy lines, so it brings our eye through. So it's not about like creating an illusion of physical movement, it's how does our eye look through the piece. So where does our eye flow when looking at an artwork? Okay, next is pattern. Pattern is the repeating of the elements throughout an artwork. So in this case, the elements are shapes. So I did a repetition of a triangle, circle, triangle, circle, circle, triangle. So it just repeats. And this one, the repetition, artwork with a pattern to help an artwork seem active. So the pattern, the building up of the triangles kind of makes it seem like we're following that kind of almost line that's being created and seems more active. And then rhythm. Again, rhythm is a lot like movement in the fact that we follow, and it's a repeating, and it creates that way, that pathway for our eyes to follow. But the repetition of elements to create a feeling of movement is rhythm. So rhythm in music, or rhythm in dance, it means it's a beat or it's movement. Okay, so pattern, repetition, and rhythm, they work really well together, but obviously rhythm and movement work really well together too. So these principles of design are never just taken all by themselves. A lot of times artworks will have quite a few of them working together to create a good composition. Proportion or scale. True or exaggerated are the two types of proportion here that I'm going to talk about. So true proportion means that it's really very symmetrical for everything. It's larger trees to smaller trees. So true proportion, nothing is really pushed and it looks more real, realism. Exaggerated means playing with scale, or playing with the pieces and parts of what is normal. So here I have a large eye against a little eye, which is different than what we're normally drawing, and then the mouth is a little offset. So it kind of makes my little emoji here look like he's looking off to the left. So this playing with proportion can help with creating surrealism, artwork that looks surreal, or abstraction, artwork that looks abstract. Also, proportion would be controlling the size of elements to show an illusion of depth on a 2D surface. So again, the larger tree, the medium tree, the smallest, and teeny tiny scribbles back here. Here we have the large square, medium, small, smaller, and then I had kind of one in the foreground here. So again, that kind of plays with the perceptions. But if I were going to play with scale or proportion, maybe I would actually make a tiny little square up here just to kind of push the rules a little bit. But I didn't. But that's always an option for artists to play with proportion or scale. So here we have the large in the bottom part of the paper and small towards the horizon line. And so that creates that illusion of depth, background, middle ground, foreground. Alright, we have variety. So that is using many elements in an artwork to make it more interesting or complex. So here we have kind of that boring, less complicated design, and here we kind of jumbled it all up. Maybe it's still organized, but it should be more complex, which makes having more variety makes it more interesting to look at. Unity, the feeling of harmony, the sense of completeness. No part of the artwork feels random, chaotic, or forgotten. There can be a lot of activity, but it is still organized. So in class, I've been using the example of a messy bedroom. It's kind of chaotic, but as soon as you go through it and you clean it up, then you're adding organization to your bedroom and it feels more calm or more organized and more livable. So this all leads to composition. So when you guys used your thumbprint that we took in class, and then you use that to influence your project with lines. How you're going to lay the lines on the paper, mimicking your thumbprint. I added the other element of incorporating words or phrases about yourself. So how are you going to incorporate that into your artwork? So all of those decisions you made, essentially you were composing your art piece. You were composing your line design, your thumbprint line design. So composition is the process of organizing the elements of art and design according to the principles of art and design. So organizing the chaos, creating something that wasn't there before with a lot of different pieces and parts, and then making it feel like it's supposed to be done, supposed to be looked at, and that it is complete. So I would say some of the thumbnail line designs that I've looked at might not quite feel complete. So we'll keep working on what is that, what is good artwork, what does it mean to be complete, and really working hard on our artwork, okay? Hopefully this helps.